I think if I wanted to represent a team from the Big 12 to put on here, I'm going to put is because I think they're one of the most underrated teams in the entire country. This is a team that went from 0 to hero in 1 week. In one game, Fernando Mendoza went from nothing to the Heisman betting favorite. The number one offense in the entire country so far is... And welcome to the Hot Seat of College Football Show on a cloudy Thursday afternoon right outside of Columbus, Ohio. I hope you guys all had a fantastic week as we are rapidly approaching week 5 of the college football season. I can't believe we're almost a quarter of the way throughout the season, I guess of the regular season. It has just been flying by so incredibly fast. This weekend, I think, is probably going to be, it's definitely the best slate of football so far, but I think it's going to be maybe the best week of college football all year. Super excited. We got huge games like Oregon, Penn State, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Washington, LSU, Ole Miss, which does have a funny storyline with Lane Kiffin's daughter. All of that we will be covering tomorrow on Last Minute Lock, so make sure you're going to go ahead and watch that video tomorrow afternoon for our bets and predictions for the game. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit notifications so you get a notification every single time that I release a video. The past couple videos have been doing really well with views. Really trying to grow this channel. Let's try to get to 10 subs before maybe playoff predictions start, the playoff poll. So let's try to get to 10 subs maybe in the next week or two. I'm going to keep uploading videos so you won't miss me either way. But today I kind of wanted to do a maybe a little bit of a shorter video, but a more fun video that I've seen some other people talk about. And I saw some people were doing like conference tiers, who is tier 1 in this conference. But what I wanted to do is rate, not rank, but rate the top 10 offenses so far throughout week 4 of the college football season. This is the graphic that I made the other day. I actually had a lot of fun making this graphic. Is the top 10 offenses so far throughout week 4 of the college football season. So this is it's a rating, but how I would view this top 10 is kind of if you're having a draft, if you could draft the top 10 offenses throughout the country so far, is who would you pick? So obviously there's some teams on here that lost to teams lower than them. But I'm going to go deep and explain all of these. But before we get into our top 10, I want to talk about a couple teams that did not make it. You can kind of see at the bottom of the graphic. I have 5 teams. I actually have one more I want to add, or honorable mentions. So first, I'll talk about TCU. Josh Hoover has been phenomenal so far. If you haven't watched that game versus North Carolina, which obviously we know North Carolina is not very good, Josh Hoover balled out. He already has 1,000 passing yards with 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He is just a really well-coached team. Sonny Dykes is a really good coach. Took him to the national title a couple of years ago, if you remember. But I really believe in this TCU team in the Big 12, so watch out for them. The next team out is Missouri. So obviously Missouri has the transfer from Penn State, the quarterback Brett Prebula or whatever. He didn't really see much playing time at Penn State, but if you did watch Penn State a lot last year, you'll notice when Drew Aller got hurt in that Wisconsin game, they were down at halftime, and he led them to a win over Wisconsin. And obviously, he has looked a lot better than Drew Aller. He's more mobile. He makes decisions faster. So I don't know what the evaluation process at Penn State was, but they pushed him out. Well, I guess he left during the playoff because of that stupid transfer portal rule by the NCAA, which now I'm pretty sure is kind of fixed. Not really. But I got Missouri at 4. That win over Kansas was really impressive. The win over South Carolina, just kind of seeing A.J. Harvey and Brett Prebula, kind of the back and forth of the RPO and the read options I thought was really cool, and they looked really impressive. So they're one of my honorable mention teams. The next team, which I actually really considered putting them in the top 10, is Texas A&M. And Texas A&M, a team that I want to see a little bit more when they play a defense, because they've put up 40-plus points on like UTEP and UTSA and teams like that. And they obviously put up 41 points on Notre Dame. But I think Notre Dame's defense is terrible. So we're going to see them this weekend against Auburn, who I actually think has a pretty good a pretty good defense. So we'll kind of see what he does. I haven't not made my prediction for that game. That is one of the games I'll give out right now that's going to be on my predictions list tomorrow. Have not made a bet prediction yet. The next team on here is Texas Tech, and I think I wanted to represent a team from the Big 12 to put on here, and if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna put. I wanted to represent a team from the Big 12 to put on here, and if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna put Texas Tech. And obviously, if you watch the Utah game, it looks like a blowout. It really wasn't. There was a bunch of points in the fourth quarter that were scored to make it look like a blowout. It was like a 3-point game going into the fourth quarter. But I think with Brett Morton out for now, Hammond the backup looked really good. He might be better for that team than Brett Morton. My thing is, I think Brett Morton's going to start again, so I don't know if we're going to see that level of production because he's not going to be starting. And I'm kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt over teams like Arizona State's offense because of because I historically Utah and Kyle Whittingham's their defenses have been really good. So I'm kind of giving the benefit of the doubt for now. But next up is Georgia. So my thing with Georgia is, yes, they put up 44 points on Tennessee, and that's why they're in the honorable mentions. But they looked really bad against Austin Peay, and it's still early enough in the season where we don't have too many data points. And I'm just kind of, we're just, I just want to kind of wait and see about Georgia. And a couple of teams that actually I haven't even forgot to put on here is like an Ole Miss. Obviously, Lane Kiffin with Shane Ellis, that backup, have been looking really good. But they put up a bunch of points on like Arkansas and Kentucky. But they're going to play LSU this weekend, who is one of the best defenses in the country. So maybe after this week, Ole Miss can climb their way up in here. And a team that, the last honorable mention team that I would put in the top 10 or the honorable mentions, but now I'm not going to, is Oklahoma. And obviously, if you haven't heard, the John Mateer hand injury, I think that was their season. Without John Mateer, the back end of their schedule is just the best teams in the SEC. And without John Mateer for on half of those games, they're probably not going to make the playoffs. I think Oklahoma's season is maybe not chalked, but cooked. I think they're cooked. Maybe not chalked, but cooked. So that's the honorable mentions, teams that missed out on the top 10. At 10, and a team I'm kind of giving the benefit of the doubt just because of what they did to Michigan State, is USC. I'm high on this USC team. I was high on them in the offseason. I had them going 9-3, just missing out on the playoff. But I think with Lincoln Riley and his history with Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, who all won Heisman's, and Jalen Hurts, a Super Bowl MVP, I really trust this USC offense. And kind of like LSU, where like Brian Kelly, USC, Lincoln Riley, and LSU have been like historically really good offenses, but lately have had better defenses, but their offenses have lacked. Luckily, I do think Jaden Maiava is better than Miller Moss. So I got USC at 10. I think Jacoby Lane is really good, maybe one of the best receivers in the country. The transfer running back has been really productive for them. So I have USC at 10, and another West Coast team in the Big Ten is a team that actually Ohio State is going to go out and play this weekend, is Washington at number 9. So I have Washington at number 9, and the reason why is because I think they're one of the most underrated teams in the entire country. And you can kind of see that Ohio State spread has went down from has went down from 13.5 all the way to I think 7.5. Do I think they're maybe overrating a little bit? Yes, I think Ohio State is going to easily cover that game. But a lot of it is because of one player on Washington, and that is their quarterback, DeMond Williams Jr. He is a sophomore from Arizona. He's 5'11", only 190, so he's a smaller guy. But man, is he shifty. He is fast. He is all over the place in the scramble and the RPO and the run game, the read option game, power, whatever you want to call it. He is perfect for that. He is perfect for that offense. Him, Jonah Coleman, maybe the best running back in the Big Ten, at least statistically. The problem is their defense is pretty bad, and they have 2 6'4" corners. One of them's hurt. But there's kind of a reason why you don't see 6'4" corners. It's because they're too big. But I think he can, for the most part, put the team on his back. We'll see about this weekend when Ohio State goes up to Seattle. But so far, he has a 93.6 quarterback rating, which is second in the country. He has 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, with 778 passing yards. He's been pretty electric. He's a 73.5% completion rate. And last year he did okay. He was under 1,000 yards passing, but that was because he was starting behind Will Rogers. Looking at their schedule, and we'll dive more into this tomorrow because that's when Ohio State plays them. But they haven't really played anybody, but they scored a lot of points, so we'll see. But we'll talk more about that on Saturday, which I'm going to go deep into this game on Saturday. And then if you just want to see the segment, I want to release it. I'm sorry. We're going to talk about it Friday afternoon. But if you want to see the segment only for that video is going to come out Saturday morning before kickoff. This game is going to be at 3:30. So Washington at number 9, at number 8. And you're probably wondering, why is Florida State below Alabama? I get it. I'll get into that. Is Florida State. I think this team's getting a little bit overrated. We'll see, because they play Miami next week. Number 2, Miami. We'll see. They might drop a spot just because if Oregon or Penn State wins, they're probably going to jump Miami, maybe go to number 1. We'll see. But for right now, the number 2 team in the country they're going to be hosting. I think Tommy Castellanos and Squirrel White are a really good combo. I think they're really solid, much better than they were last year. They beat Alabama when I don't think they were necessarily ready to play, which kind of speaks to Kalen DeBoer. But I think they played really well, which is why they're in the top 10. So Tennessee at number 7, I'm looking at what they did to Syracuse and what they did to Georgia. I was a lot higher on their defense. I thought their defense would be phenomenal. I was wrong. I was very wrong. They've given up 1 billion points, but they've scored 1 billion points too. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at kind of Joey Aguilar, which was the guy that was at Appalachian State last year, transferred to UCLA, and then did a trade swap with Nico. And Tennessee won the trade, man. Joey Aguilar has played phenomenally. In that Georgia game, there was 2 50-yard touchdown throws where it was kind of underthrown, and it was a jump ball in the corner, or the safety, whatever, for Georgia just fell over, which led to a walk-in touchdown for Tennessee. Obviously, missing Squirrel White is going to be a little bit sad. Obviously, he went to Florida State. But they do have weapons. They don't have Dylan Sampson anymore, which is unfortunate. But I do have Tennessee at 7 just from what we have seen this year from Joey Aguilar. But they do play Mississippi State this week, which I think is a trap game. Mississippi State is much better than they were last year, but we will see what Joey Aguilar can do on the road. I think this is his first true road start. But I got Tennessee at 7. At number 6, I got Alabama. And the reason why I have Alabama over Florida State is what I said earlier. If I am having a draft where I can draft teams' offenses, would you rather have Ty Simpson, who's got a lot better, played phenomenally, Caden Proctor, J.M. Miller, who came back for them, Jeremy Bernard, and Ryan Williams, or Tommy Castellanos and Squirrel White? Who would you rather have? I mean, it's a fair question. Florida State won, but that was kind of more of a defensive win for them. But I really do like this Alabama offense. I think they're going to come back. If Alabama were to play Florida State this week, I think Alabama would win. But I have them at number 6. And at number 5 is Indiana. And this is a team that went from 0 to hero in 1 week. Obviously, they were kind of a fringe playoff team last year. People didn't think they deserved to make it. And Kirk Kennedy kind of has them back into contention again. This was a thing last year where people were like, oh, we don't know if they're really good because they blew out a bunch of teams, but they lost to good teams. So we'll see. They got to play Oregon and Penn State and Iowa this year. I think they'll beat Iowa, but if they lose to Penn State and Oregon, but they beat Iowa and they beat Michigan State, and I think they play USC, I think that's a playoff team, especially with a win 63-10 over Illinois. That was a phenomenal win. But I've kind of seen this story before from Indiana. If you guys remember last year, Nebraska played Illinois. And Nebraska, people thought were still pretty good. They were coming off the loss to Illinois. And Indiana beat them, I think it was 56-7. It was a huge blowout loss. People thought Nebraska sucked. But then the next week, they brought Ohio State down to the wire. I know because I was at that Nebraska game last year in the shoe. And then later in the year, a team that destroyed Nebraska, and Nebraska took Ohio State down to the wire, played Ohio State. Ohio State kicked the shit out of them. And then Notre Dame kicked the shit out of them in the playoffs. So it's like, I've seen the story from Indiana before. I will say in one game, this guy who no one was really much talking about that much, in one game, Fernando Mendoza went from nothing to the Heisman betting favorite. Part of that, I think, is because of the John Mateer hand injury that we obviously talked about earlier. So I do have Indiana at number 5. Now in our top 4, I have the U. I got Miami in the top 4. Obviously, they were the number 1 offense last year. I think they're back in the top 5. Definitely way more balanced this year with Carson Beck looking much better than he did last year, looking like the Carson Beck of 2 years ago in 23 at Georgia. That I think that offensive line is much improved. That running game is much more balanced, and that I think that the defense is something. 1 year he turned that defense around. Obviously, they don't have Xavier Restrepo or Cam Ward. But I do think that they still have a good passing threat. You look at that one catch against Notre Dame. So I do have Miami at number 4. And a team that actually lost to Miami, and I'll explain why I have this team over Miami with their offense, not the team, just the offense, is Notre Dame. And the reason why is, let me explain it to you like this. Miami put up 27 points at home against a god-awful defense. Notre Dame's defense is god-awful. Miami's defense is real damn good. And Miami put up 27 points on a bad defense when Notre Dame, new quarterback, on the road, in the rain, put up 27 points on a really good defense. So that's kind of why I have that where it is. I think Notre Dame with CJ Carr really coming into fruition for them. I think Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love are still one of maybe the best running back duo in the country with Penn State and Michigan. I think that Jaden Greathouse is still a really solid receiver. And I believe in Marcus Freeman. So I got Notre Dame at 3. At number 2 and number 1, I think number 2 is more talented than number 1. But from what we've seen so far, at number 2, I do have the Ohio State Buckeyes. And the reason why is just because I want to see more from the running game and quarterback maturity. And what I mean by that is Julian Saint has played phenomenally so far. He is 9 for 9 on deep balls, has like the second best QBR or third best QBR in the country, has the number one completion percentage, or at least he had it last week. But obviously offensive line is much better than it was last year. At least at what it was at the end of the year. You have way more. I think you have more weapons now. I get you lost Abuka, but you have Max Clare. Carnell is much better than he was last year. Jeremiah is still the best player in the country. You got a new quarterback, but you have the most accurate quarterback in the country. My only concern is the run game and run blocking, because running the ball has been very so far. And I think that's just because James Peoples was the starter with C.J. Donaldson. But obviously, looking back, Bo Jackson is the best running back on that team. He is the fastest. He sees the field the most. He's the most athletic. The problem is he's a freshman. So that comes with freshman mistakes, like illegal formations, maybe false starts, fumbling, dropping the ball, maybe not as good at pass blocking. So I want to see a little bit. Obviously, Washington lacking defense. We'll see kind of what they are this weekend. But I got them at number 2. And the number 1 offense in the entire country so far is the Oregon Ducks. This offense has been sensational. Statistically, Oregon is the number 1 team in the country with a lackluster defense, especially defensive lines. That kind of sticks out and talks about how good this offensive line and offense is for Oregon. Dante Moore he's new, he's young, but he's not a first-time starter. He has been phenomenal on the deep ball. DeCorian Moore has been really good. I get losing Evan Stewart has been hard on them, and it's kind of why I was lower on Oregon throughout the preseason. But I do think that Oregon looks really good. I trust Dan Lanning. I bet they're hungry over how the season ended from them last year in the Rose Bowl. But they lost Jordan James, but their new running back, I think he's still pretty good. That offensive line looks really good. Dante Moore has all the time in the world to throw. They've scored a bajillion points on all the teams they've played. In one game, Dan Lanning got Mike Gundy fired. So, yeah, I think this Oregon team is real damn good. I think that I think that DeCorian Moore, not to the levels of Jeremiah Smith, but I think he has a chance of having an absolutely phenomenal freshman wide receiver season, maybe similar to what we saw from Jeremiah Smith last year. But that is my graphic. After week 4, our honorable mentions are TCU, Missouri, A&M, Texas Tech, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. And then going in our top 10, at number 10, we got USC. Number 9 is Washington. 8 is Florida State. Number 7, Tennessee. Number 6, Alabama. Number 5, Indiana. Number 4, Miami. Number 3, Notre Dame. Number 2, Ohio State. And for second year in a row, top 2 offense in the country is Oregon. So I got Oregon at number 1. That is my top 10 offenses throughout the week 4 of the college football season. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow afternoon for last minute locks, as I'm going to cover and predict and bet, not going to put any money on the games, but I'm going to predict the top 10 games I have for next week. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit that like button. And thank you all for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you.